Look, if I'm 5 inches in Aglaya and Mydei is 5 inches in me, I'm gonna be honest, these banners are kind of underwhelming. At least, that's what I thought at first. You see, I have been enlightened. Have seen the other side of the Honkai Star Rail pipeline. I totally don't have a firearm pointed at my nether regions right now. All I'm saying is that Paimon is not who they claim to be. A literal king of hell if you look it up, by the way. But that's neither here nor there. No, we're talking about Honkai Star Rail today, particularly the banners releasing in 3.1. I'm gonna be honest, the fact that there are only 4 banners this patch is kinda sad. I think Mihoyo needs to understand that their public image is not the best right now. But hey, what do I know? I'm not the head developer. I mean, have you looked at my social credit score? I wouldn't make it past the first round of interviews, let alone out of the building. Anyway, that just means I'm gonna have to try really hard to stretch this video to that 8-minute mark. Alright, how are we kicking off this update? Well, like usual, the character I've been saving up for is in the second half. But if you're lacking a quantum support, or just like getting 3 characters for the price of 1, then do I have the character for you? Now, before the FBI comes to knocking at my door, I'm behind 800 firewalls and over 70 alternative accounts. Also, she's like 9 trillion years old or something, so do with that what you will. Tribbie is the name and Mischief is her game, or, well, one of them is. Look, I'm gonna be talking about Tribbie, the one in the middle, the one that actually does shit, at least in gameplay. But what does she actually do? We Honkai Star Rail characters pull for more than just aesthetics after all, at least some of us do. I get it, I shouldn't have pulled for Blade, leave me alone. Tribbie is a Quantum Harmony character, making her the second of her kind. Technically it makes her 4 of a kind, but I grow tired of the whole 3 people bit. Sadly, this is not Balatro and we do not get extra points for putting them together. So from what we know about Tribbie, which is basically everything about her kit except for one really tiny thing, she seems to be a solid unit. I mean, she's a 5-star support in a power creep simulator, so she fucking better be. Tribbie's kit revolves around buffing your allies and doing damage alongside them when they ultimate. So if your team isn't doing a lot of ultimates, then you probably don't want her on your team. Tribbie also creates a zone with her ultimate that allows her to give your team a pseudo Robin ult, dealing what I assume to be is quantum damage alongside your party's other attacks. Speaking of Robin, Tribbie's skill is a 3-turn buff that we technically don't know yet. It's most likely a flat damage or a res pin though. Kit-wise, Robin is going to be the most direct comparison we're going to get. Now, is Tribbie power crept Robin? I sure hope not, I just fucking got her. But she definitely plays a similar role. Plus, Robin is still like insane support, so we might just be getting some more, dare I say it, variety in our Huohuoverse money vacuum? Anyway, Tribbie is going to be a support slash sub DPS for your team, at least if she actually does good damage. Star Rail has a hard time getting the damage scaling of HP percent characters right, so I pray they get it right here. As a Blade fan and stan, things are looking bleak, especially since we're getting the shinier, sexier Blade very soon. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Who's the 5-star running alongside Tribbie? Well, remember Yunli? Yeah, me neither. I could, however, draw her feat from memory, but that's just a hidden talent of mine. Not so hidden anymore, I guess. Yunli is a 5-star physical destruction character that, by all accounts, is the power crept version of Clara. Another 5-star physical destruction character that also has her feet out. Just saying. Unlike Clara, however, Yunli carries her burdens alone. That burden being a massive fucking greatsword. I was almost tempted to pull for her just by that alone. Nuts from the Zerk maxing and all. Yunli is a very complicated character. I'm gonna preface this right now and say that she is really good in pretty much every mode that involves enemies, attacking you, but she's not really a character that runs on auto very well. Yunli gets the majority of her damage from her enhanced counter, which can only be activated through her ultimate, right before you get hit. You do have a little bit of leeway, but not enough just to pop it whenever and wherever, which autoplay seems to love doing. I swear to God, my autoplay version of Blade can only ultimate when there's one fucking enemy left. I'm gonna pull my hair out. Gotta Tectone max real quick. You also have to reliably pull aggro with a character to get good results, so you better bring links or something. But if you can get the enemy to fuck around, they will definitely find out. Yunli does insane damage when her kit allows her to, but she definitely needs some TLC, both in building a team around her and just generally having enough patience to put up with her unorthodox kit. I still put her a tier behind the top DPSs in the game though, and most tier lists seem to agree with me on that. I'll briefly mention the 4-stars as they are important to new and intermediate players. The 4-stars in Phase 1 are Gweniphen, Lynx, and Pitch Dark Captain Hook the Great. Gweniphen and Lynx are solid pulls, with Lynx probably being the most important pickup if you actually pull for Yunli. I actually have a pretty goated Hook build, and I'm sure there's 100 zero-cycle builds out there, but believe me when I say those do not apply to you. Anyway, the 4-stars aren't bad. Pretty solid actually, but nobody knew. I'd probably give the Phase 1 banners a solid, wait for it, 7 out of 10. Wait, 7 out of 10? Am I hearing this right? A DailySSJ video where he doesn't say 6 out of 10? Insane! We don't exactly know how good Tribbie is going to be yet, but I can't imagine her being terrible. I think the opposite actually. Let Mihoyo cook, a tale as old as time. Yunli is always a solid option, but she is just that, solid. And like I said, the 4 stars are cool. Definitely not a bad banner to pull on as a newer experienced player, but I definitely save my primos for something more meta-defined. Getting back to banners though, let's talk about Phase 2. Alright, now we're talking. Meat is finally back on the menu. Gilgamesh, my beloved, you have returned. Finally, a character that doesn't look like a malnourished twink. No offense, my malnourished twinks, you guys are serving. First of all, before I say any more, when I was looking at the little promotional image for him, I saw that it said his voice actor in English was Gabriel Warburton. That seemed to stun me for a sec. Warburton. Where have I heard that surname before?
Hey, Peter.
Oh my fucking... Anyway, that already makes him a must-pull. Plus, you know, I want to have very straight discussions regarding compatible biologies with this man. Look, if I'm 5 inches in Aglaya and Mydei is 5 inches in me, I'm gonna be hitting the Dempsey roll in the y-axis type shit. Anyway, what does Mydei actually do? Have you heard of Blade? Great, he's back and, you know, better. Supposedly, way better. Mydei is a 5-star destruction character that is imaginary, but he's real to me. Mydei's kit revolves around consuming his own HP to buff his abilities. The more health he loses, the more charge stacks he gets. At a certain amount of charge stacks, Mydei does an enhanced skill. At an even greater amount of charge stacks, getting real Argenti vibes here, Mydei does a super enhanced skill. Your ultimate does pretty good damage and also may or may not make you actually unkillable. Yeah, look, I was pulling anyway, even if Mihoyo was going to screw me. At least I'm not spending money. Well, that's only because I don't have any, but that's beside the point. Fund my wailing, like and subscribe. Mydei seems like a really solid and potentially game-breaking DPS if Mihoyo doesn't give him the blade treatment. Do you know how Mihoyo loves running 5 stars alongside their best support? Yeah, they did that here. Running alongside Mydei is everyone's favorite neurotic ghostbuster, Huohuo. Huohuo, for the uninitiated, is a 5-star abundance character of the Win variety, which is basically the modern equivalent of women in STEM fields. There's no deeper meaning to that statement, Lamau. I'm gonna keep it simple. Huohuo is a great healer. Now, in my personal experience, her healing has left me usually dead, but I seem to be the odd one out. Huohuo heals your teammates every time they cast their ultimate, their turn starts, or when they fucking breathe. And I still somehow end up dying with her. Oh, and she cleanses debuff. Her ultimate, however, awakens her inner persona and buffs your team's attack while also restoring their energy. She'd probably be a good pair with Tribbie now that I think about it. Anyway, I'll make a more in-depth video on these characters separately, but what you need to know is that there aren't many healers better than Huohuo. I'd probably put her under Lingsha in like an overall sense, but you'd by no means be making a bad decision by pulling for her. Anyway, let's briefly talk about the 4 stars. The 4 stars of Phase 2 are going to be Arlan, Zhuyi, and Natasha. Yeah, we are not making it out of Amphorius with this one. Now, Arlan jokes aside, these 4 stars will definitely not pay you back tenfold. A general rule of thumb is that 4 stars that do damage are going to be much worse than even a shitty 5-star. Zhuyi is decent, and Arlan is, well, the eternal jobber. I honestly think that Peppy would do more damage than Arlan, and I'm saying that as an Arlan enjoyer. Blade, Arlan, Mydei, I guess I just like broken men. The Phase 2 banners are going to get a solid 9 out of 10. Oh yeah, we are huffing that hopium with this one. Personal bias aside, I feel like these banners are more than solid for a beginner or an experienced player. Mydei is likely going to be a top tier damage character, and Huohuo is already like top 3 healers in the game. The only thing keeping this from being a 10 out of 10 is the fucking 4 star, and the uncertainty about Mydei being a meta defining character. Mihoyo can always screw them over last second. Now, how about we wrap this video up into a very nice, very stylish bow? So, should you pull for the characters in 3.1? Well, in all honesty, I'm actually more against pulling for them than I am for it. I know, I was talking so much shit earlier, so what gives? Well, we've got a lot on the horizon this major content patch, so you're probably better off saving your Jade for some more concrete investment. We have Casterus and Anaxa to look forward to, and, you know, Fanon as well, but that's whatever. Like, come on, they're not gonna make Fanon a bad character. We also have to factor in the whole will they, won't they with Mihoyo and whether or not they're actually gonna buff older characters. If so, that would change everything, and no doubt these buff characters would be ran alongside the new ones. So yeah, we are at a very venturing into the unknown time in Honkai Star Rail, and I'm honestly quite sure that Mihoyo has no fucking clue what they're doing either. But I'll talk about that in my Honkai Star Rail is Doomed video. Anyway, sorry for the lack of uploads. I actually almost died a couple months back. I've just now gotten mostly back to form and can pump out some of that OG content again. If you're curious about what happened or just want to ask how my day is going, feel free to comment. As always, I will reply to that shit.